That's to the website. So what I expect we'll have today, what we have today, we'll probably have a few other groups of minutes where we're doing kind of catch up to get them approved and posted on the website. Even if they were already approved, they were never posted on the website. So today we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sets of minutes that were on shared drives, have been sent, get not posted. I know I was able to do a quick scan of my email under Renee's name and the word minutes. And boop, 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 you know, a bunch of them came up. So only one did I need to recreate. Those of you who did dig through your files and created, found old emails, etc. Thank you for doing that so we can tidy up our files and also provide a level of transparency that we should be providing to the community. So I know in the 4 years I've been on the board, I've never seen a consent agenda item before. So I asked Natalie, what does that mean? It means that we'll be approving all of these in one fell swoop. Rather than going item by item by item. So with that introduction, are there any questions?
My only question is logistically, if our new trustees have to abstain from the consent agenda because
They do.
okay.
They can't vote yet. They can be counted in attendance, but they can't vote until, well, in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, and then because there are some committee meetings in which perhaps only Bonnie was there at this point.
That's fine.
Great.
Other questions? And open to a motion.
I will move to approve all of the items on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Trustee Friedeman. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Trustee Jerch. We'll do just a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That's 2. We have 2 abstentions. We have 2 abstentions.
Do we count?
Yeah. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Painless.
Pretty much.
We're putting it all together. That wasn't so painless.
It's a work in progress. We will be done soon.
Goodness.
Okay, maybe not soon, but as soon as we can. We will, exactly. We will get there.
All right. That takes us to agenda item number 7, library director updates. Natalie.
So I am thrilled to say that all of the sprinklers have now been replaced. That wasn't just April, that finished this month, but they are all replaced now in the library and in the museum side because it's all library building. Everything has been updated, replaced, tested, etc. They also were kind enough to replace some of the stained ceiling tiles with ceiling tiles that we had to make sure that we can tell if anything's leaking. So that was wonderful. We do have that set up now to be a yearly inspection. The fireplace, I'm just kind of skipping around a little bit to things that we've been very excited about. Fireplace has been inspected. We wanted to make sure that everything was working because there was an issue again with the flames last month. And that was found to just be a cobweb in the system. So that has been cleaned, repaired, everything is working. We are waiting to hear back. Actually today we sent in an updated budget for the state construction grant, the asbestos removal. They wanted to see that with the ADA work on one budget because they're most likely done at the same time in order to maximize what we can get the return for our dollars. We're still waiting on Lake County. We'll get more information on that later. Heat maps are attached along with. Is it helpful if I continue to, and I will continue to do this, but I just want to know if it's helpful, my measuring how many people are taking informal poll of how many people come straight to the elevator. So for you guys and you guys over here, the sensor that measures how many people are coming into the library building is on the library door, not the door to the building, but the door into the library. So we're not getting building use statistics. And the problem there is a lot of people come straight in and go to the elevator to go downstairs, especially lots of little kids, families, things like that. So we were missing all of those statistics. So I started keeping a little tally on a Post-it note anytime that I'm in my office. It's not perfect. I'm not there 100% of the time, but it's something. It gives us a better idea of the people that we're missing in those statistics that we're seeing. So I will keep doing that. I'm just curious, is that helpful for you guys to see, do you think?
I would imagine it's a big number. But I would imagine that would be a pretty big number that would go.
It is a good number. We had about 200 this past month that came in the morning and then about another 100 that came in the afternoon. I'm not here all evening, so I'm sure I missed a good number in the afternoon, but it's pretty good.
I think as long as we're doing the pilot and until we make any more permanent changes, I think it would be wise just so we can
We'll keep
have
doing it.
transparency. So thank you for doing that, Natalie.
I would add at a glance, it looks pretty similar to the heat maps
It is.
that are capturing people coming through the dedicated library door. So I would agree with Ally. I think we continue through the June meeting, which is when we'll be making a decision regarding hours of operation for effect in September.
Mhm. So human resources, Laura has been moved to the manager of tax services. That's a role she was already doing. She just didn't have a title. Doesn't change anything to do with salaries, but she is already doing that work. And Anthony is leaving. We actually conducted the last interview for the IT lead position today. We'll be making a decision on that later this week and talking to everyone. So we should have somebody starting here shortly. He will be staying on until somebody starts. Record retention, I am thrilled, as some of you already know, that the offsite storage facility is no longer ours. This there is a pile of boxes in my office that all need to be shredded, and the company will be coming for that soon. It won't look that bad forever, I promise.
And I'll just, let me interject a compliment. Approximately 3 years ago, it first hit my radar that we were paying for offsite storage. And then Natalie provided additional context today. This offsite storage has existed for 23 years. And we've spent a good chunk of money over those 23 years, more than about $1,500 a year to maintain this offsite storage. And again, it was sort of we'd love to get to a point where we empty it out, have a better inventory of what's in there, find out if is it really stuff we need to get retained, et cetera. And due to a lot of changes here, it just kind of stayed on the list without being addressed. So thank you so much for addressing it from a financial perspective, as well as just knowing what we have where, and do we even need to keep it?
We're getting there. Next will be a little bit less visual, but continuing to go through all of our digital records. And getting that down, getting rid of the things that we don't need, that we shouldn't keep, things like that. So work in progress, we're getting there.
Can I ask a quick question? When you were talking about shredding everything, there is a resident of Lake Bluff who has a business of shredding.
Okay.
And he often, has sort of like a couple times a year, you can just go up and for free. And I bet he would be interested in helping the library. And
Can you email me?
oh yeah,
Lovely, thank you very much.
yeah.
I have a quote from 2 different companies, one that I had used before at my previous library and the one that we're currently using just as a regular shredding company. But if we can find somebody local, that'd be phenomenal.
Well, possibly free.
Free would be even better. Friends group meeting, that was in March, so we've already gone over that. That information hasn't changed. They are funding the 4th of July work that we will be doing, so we are very excited about getting that all planned. We are already grabbing, Jillian has been talking to people about getting in to be volunteers and do, apparently there's something about wearing a balloon backpack. I don't know, I'm not sure.
I may have photos I can send you.
You could volunteer.
I'm out of town, so sorry.
It's open to anybody, just throwing it out there.
Many of the board members have walked in the parade in the past when the library has participated as a parade entry.
We are again, so it is open to all of you. Read Between the Ravines was phenomenal. It was my first one, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but it was absolutely wonderful. Enjoyed it very forward to the next one. Jillian has been working on all sorts of marketing things. She just sent in the newsletter to the printer, so that's coming out here shortly. And completed all of the information and mailings for the library board trustee campaign, obviously, because we have wonderful candidates. The website, she is working on doing some updates to that and has been continuing to do so. Just added information about the Delhi Park Imagination Library that came to Lake County recently. So that is available for everyone. I did share that with the schools. Well, with a school, another school shared it with me, so it's going around. It's fantastic. Really glad to be working with everybody. Eliza has been incredibly busy, and both youth and adult services in doing story times and outreach and all sorts of volunteer programs. Those teen volunteers have still been coming in, substantial number of them, which is wonderful. We're always glad to see them coming through.
Hey Natalie, just a quick comment on the Imagination Library. With the Park District having a fairly sizable prepaid program, it may be worth an effort of someone reaching out to Parks Department to make sure they're also advertising it to their. Yeah, great. I can send it to you.
So Molly and Circulation have been continuing to work on the collection of leading projects and the non-resident fee updates. So they put all of the non-residents who are applicable into the database, so they're there. Find them. They have had some wonderful displays this past month. They change them out regularly. If you haven't seen them, please do. And then notary training. We are very excited that notaries will be coming back this fall. They are completing all of the notary training, just waiting for all their materials to come in and do some real world training for that before they really launch it. We have, let's see, what am I missing? Tax services. So Laura has added her work in here, and she has been primarily working very hard on onboarding Ingram. So we will not just have Baker and Taylor we're ordering through. We can also order through Ingram to get books and materials in faster. And then reclassifying all sorts of collections and relabeling collections. And what am I missing?
The collections project.
The collections project.
In terms of tax services.
They have been incredibly busy. Everyone is incredibly busy, but they have been as well. I'm very, very happy to say. Are there any questions I can answer?
You know, I'm gonna interject one again, because by the time we get to the end of the agenda, we may not have the same level of energy when we talk about the comment cards. So there is a comment card about the reduction in the size of the collection. Yes. But I just wanted to provide a little context that we've done some benchmarking of our library collection, the size of the collection, physical collection, electronic collection, et cetera, compared to our population. Our collection was way oversized. We also had reduced the total number of hours that our cataloging librarian and other staff members had to actually do collection reading. So basically, you don't want a lot of books sitting on your shelf that are just taking up dust, you know. Additionally, the collection was not easily accessible for books on the very top of the stacks or the very bottom of the stacks. That became very apparent for anyone who, you know, whether long-term or temporarily is on crutches or in a wheelchair or on an e-scooter, it's very difficult to get to the books. We did a substantial, a thorough accessibility study with of ours and York Anderson, and they had recommended reduce your collection, make it more accessible, the books that people are taking out. We also increased the number of hours that our cataloging librarian is working. So I'm actually kind of glad that the public's noticed that we're reducing the collection. So what we want to do is bring in books that are going to circulate, right? And once books stop circulating, donate them. Donate them elsewhere and bring other things in. So we're really right sizing the collection.
Is there anything else that I can tell you? That's all I have. Oh, can I make one quick comment about the March financial report that we had a problem with last month? I figured out what that was. Apparently, when you download the reports, you have to tell it you want to download every page. I didn't realize that, so I had only hit download and it only automatically downloads the first page. Front and back. So that's why there was only the one page for March.
Oh, no, it's good. Root cause analysis complete.
Work in progress.
Yeah.
We're getting.
Any comments on this? The group, because this is the first time we're seeing the monthly statistics in this format.
So monthly statistics are completed for the whole year. Next month, you will see an additional graph that will show you the previous year's total circulation. So you're seeing the largest number in each graph will actually be the total for that section. There's no way for me to split it out in this particular model, but I can do it in a separate graph, but that will give you the total circulation, the total checkouts, the total usage for each of those sections.
So this is a request at a previous board meeting. We're seeing sometimes like 6 months and other things. So as Natalie's become more familiar with the various reports that we use as a board meeting, seeing, them improved on a month to month.
Now, the question I have for all of you is, would you like this as a year continuously? I have it currently set up to switch. So next month you will only see May because it will be waiting to fill in the remainder of the fiscal year. I have it set up for fiscal years as opposed to a 12-month span.
I would recommend a rolling 12 months. Assuming it's not substantially more work to provide.
I think that makes sense.
Any other questions or comments on the statistics report, usage report?
It just strikes me how low the teen circulation total is. That being said, I realize that teenagers have libraries in their schools. So,
The other barrier is we don't have a teen spot. I saw when we created a teen specific area that had its own section, we had a glass wall between that and the remainder of the library, so they could make noise in there, they could be in there, they could do things in there. We saw circulation increase. We don't have that possibility at the moment. Maybe in the future we will, but right now, that's not a possibility here, so we will do as much as we can to merchandise those things, but we'll get there.
Were there any comments you wanted to make on the heat maps? Just a comment for those looking at the heat map for the first time. The scale on the bottom changes with each and every time period. So it calibrates a red zone, an orange zone, a yellow zone based on the data that's in the either 3-month time period or the 1-month time period that you're seeing. So not all red is the same. It's the same. But it's a good visualization to understand the usage that we do capture. With the entry through the main library, the dedicated library entrance. That brings us to the April and March financial reports. April 2025 financial reports, yeah.
So those are the end of the fiscal year. We will still have a few more items that will go on this fiscal year, just leftover items that ended up being billed, or we got the receipts, or that we got the bills for them in May as opposed to in April, but that is the majority of the remainder of the fiscal year.
Questions on the March financial report? The first section says up at the top, period ending 3/31/2025. A report that was incomplete from the last board meeting. Hearing no questions, the April 30th, so end of the fiscal year. Period ending April 30th, 2025. Hearing none, I'm gonna go back. I think we should probably approve the March financial report standalone and then the April financial report standalone. For motion.
Yes, I will move to approve the March 2025 revenue and expenditure report.
Second. Thank you, trustee Jerch. Is there a second? Thank you, trustee Jardine. Roll call for financials.
Trustee Shaw,
Aye.
trustee Jerch,
Aye.
trustee Jardine.
Aye.
Will also vote aye. 2 abstentions. Correct. Yeah. 15 months.
And now the April 30th financial reports, the month of April 2025. I'm going to. I always forget that word. Sorry. To approve the April. Checks or not checks, no. Okay, there's a motion to approve the April 2025 financial report. Thank you, trustee Jardine. Thank you for the second. Round the roll call again.
Yep, trustee Shaw, trustee Jerch,
Aye.
trustee Jardine.
Aye.
Will also vote aye.
And 2 abstentions. Okay. Checks for April. Anything you wanted to point out, Natalie?
There's nothing odd in any of these. We did send several staff members to the Rails Reaching Forward, which you'll see some continuing education money spent there. Other than that, there's really nothing unusual here.
Can I ask for the CVI charge for 5,100? Was that part of like the regular contract with them, or was it for?
That is contracted. We pay them quarterly for the yearly contract.
I have a question. It's regarding Mission Square. And because it's listed as a check,
It is.
but on the
It's-
financials,
Yeah.
where does it say?
So it doesn't, because that is money that is taken directly out of paychecks. So if somebody had signed up for Mission Square, for example, I'm signed up for Mission Square, it is a 457 plan. So similar to a 401k, but it is governmental version of a 401k. If you are signed up for Mission Square, you can sign up for a set dollar amount, or you can sign up for a percentage. That amount is immediately deducted out of your check. And then the library pays that by check separately to Mission Square. So there's not any money. So it's not coming out of our budget at all. It's coming directly out of payroll.
Right, so it sits here under salaries.
Yes.
then.
Yes.
Okay, and then rather than going into a employee's account, it's going over to Mission Square.
Yes. Exactly.
Got it. Thank you. Any other questions on checks? For April 2020? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I will move to approve the April 2025 checks, numbers 16492 through 16511.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Sorry.
Thank you. You're gonna be tired after tonight, Sandy. We'll go around to roll call.
Trustee Shaul. Aye. Trustee Jerch.
Aye.
Trustee Jardine.
Aye.
So vote aye, 2 abstentions.
Okay. Financials are done. Committee reports. We had no committees that met.
We get to the fun for
Okay.
Do you want to do one person at a time? For board oaths, so you all have to do an oath of office. That you fill this out and you have to say the oath. Which is very short, thankfully. And then I keep these on file and we send them into Lake County to make sure that it's all on track. Generally, you start with one person and you move to the next and the next.
Individually. Question is, who's gonna swear me in?
It can be done and should be done by the secretary if we don't have a notary, and we don't have a notary at the moment, so.
It'll be me.
You wanna give that to Ally, please? Or, all right, so for Kathleen. Sure. I wish I had like a card catalog for you to put your hand on, or.
I'll put it on my name. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of library trustee according to my best ability.
Thank you, congratulations. You'll sign that.
Do that.
All right, Courtney.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of library trustee according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. So if you'll sign under signature of person making oath. I guess I sign as signature of person administering the oath. So, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of library trustee according to the best of my ability. For another 4 years.
Yeah, back from you. If you would all be kind enough to sign those and give those back to me, I will get those filed and there we go.
And do we need to do any action other than just recording?
That was all.
Okay.
I got it. You're fine.
Huh.
No worries.
It's like it wasn't on the same line.
You're fine. No worries.
Okay, so you'll sign.
We can vote now.
I
I feel so confident.
Back to the agenda. Personnel manual updates.
So this is the same as last month. We didn't really have any changes. Last month was the read through of the updates from HR Source and the updates that I had put in with the help of Eliza and Jillian read through it, I don't know how many times, and Molly, who read through it repeatedly. Everyone did a fantastic job of helping to put this together. There are still some things to go over in the future, but these were a lot of the major issues addressed. Everything in red was, and I'll clean this up once it's approved, obviously. But this is so you can see what was added and changed by HR source and finance.
Hiring HR to help with this
HR
was
source, lovely.
huge.
They are a wonderful company, it's huge.
Yeah, they were very efficient with the salary benchmarking survey we did with them 24 months ago. And then very glad to have their help and their lift, and they're experts in employment law, municipality, employee services, benefits, etc. So
Just for historical context, I should say to the new members and the prospective members back there that it's only been in the last 2 to 3 years that we started seeking out professional guidance for these sorts of things. Other than having an attorney, we have an attorney that does work for us. Other than having an attorney look at things, we always did all our policy work and all of that, and it was tremendous amount of work and not always easy to think of everything that should be in it. So having pros come in and consult with us on things like that has just been a sea change of difference in being on this board.
yeah. Great, so with that, any other questions?
No, just to echo what Natalie said, I think it is wise to anticipate more changes within the next year, knowing that we have made small changes in the past to become compliant with law, changes in the law, but we can anticipate this is not the last we will see the manual. So thanks to the staff for lots of read-throughs and redlining too.
That's what happens when it doesn't get touched for a long period of time. It's a lot of effort to update. Okay, so I'm looking for motion then to officially adopt this new manual.
I
personnel
will
manual.
move to approve the revised personnel manual.
Thank you, trustee Friedman.
A sec.
Oh,
yeah.
And Kathleen, I don't know how to say your last name.
Read.
Reidy. Okay, thank you, trustee Reidy. I think we can do a voice vote unless there's a preference among the board to, okay, we'll do a voice vote then.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain?
Okay, great. We have a new personnel manual or updated personnel manual. Great. All right, our next item of business is an update to our bylaws. So for the last probably 10 years or more that trustee Jerch has served, the library has had small committees that have been comprised of 2, maybe 3 trustees. And those committee met as needed. Over the last 4 years, we moved to sort of having a standing meeting time-ish for finance committee, HR committee, bylaws, etc. Again, in benchmarking with other libraries and having, experienced librarians kind of coming in either on an interim or full-time basis, we learned that our committees, we have more committees than most libraries. And unlike the Park District here in Lake Bluff and the village trustees in Lake Bluff, who use a committee of the whole structure, we were still using these small committees, which required a fair amount of administrative time to create the agenda, book the agenda, write the minutes, find time that people were available. So last month, well, even maybe 6 or more months ago, the board started a conversation and discussion around, should we potentially move to a committee of the whole structure, whereby, let's just say, Enberg Anderson, the architecture firm that we work with and an engineering firm, when they have something that they evaluated for the building, rather than having them report first to building grounds and then report out to the full board at a monthly board meeting, we could instead have them report out at a committee of the whole. And then action would be taken on that report at a monthly board meeting. So we think that there are some efficiencies that could be gained, should be gained by moving to a committee of the whole structure. I will say, because I always like to look at things from both sides, it does mean that the committee of the whole would meet as needed, may not have to meet every month. And last month, we had sort of penciled in, well, most likely we would want to meet the first Tuesday of the month. That would allow some time for any follow-up, so that actions could be taken at the monthly board meetings that happen on the third Tuesday of the month. So, what you have before you is a edit to the library board bylaws that explains how a committee of the whole meetings would work. As Natalie had advised last month, we would still have 2 standing committees that would meet as needed. Those 2 committees would be finance and policy. Or we called it in the past bylaws and policy. Let me pause there, see if there's anything else, Natalie, that you would add, or questions, comments from the board.
So I don't know that those meetings would necessarily need to be separate from the committee of the whole, but those people would be specifically geared towards finance and policy. Because those are such large portions of what trustees work on. It makes sense to have those called out separately.
So would those meetings be separate also, or would they be part of the committee? Or they would just be,
Most likely part of the committee of the whole, so that way, again, you're not duplicating things. It's really hard to have a committee meeting and then a board meeting, because all you're going to do is rehash the same thing that you did at the committee meeting.
exactly.
So if they're meeting as part of the committee of the whole, but those people are leading the discussion on those sections. Because those people are, that's their specific portion, that's what they're focusing all of their time after.
And then the folks who would be, let's say, the policy chair, would then work with you in between those committee of the whole meetings to discuss items that would go on the agenda.
Yes.
I see an example in how the budget was created for fiscal year 25-26, where first with the interim director, David, finance committee worked on the budget, and then Bill went through a couple of one-on-one meetings to refine that budget, I think up to and including with Natalie as well. So yeah, I think that there would be work that the kind of chair or lead in a particular discipline would have and would do outside the committee of the whole meeting, but has no individual decision-making authority.
I can just say, you know, I've got probably the best perspective of anybody on here about the committee system, and it was unwieldy. And it was a lot of time spent at crazy times. Would you agree with me, Sandy? Sandy and I served on the same committee for the last couple of years, and I think it is probably 2 nights a month. Will end up being most months. It'll be 2 nights a month, but in the long run, I think that'll be a lot less time spent than a lot less of repetition, because as you say, we would hash things out at the committee level, make our decisions, and would bring it back to the board as a whole, and then ask all the same questions we asked among ourselves, so it get hashed out a second time before we vote on it. So I think it's a great idea to go to that model.
And oftentimes, like, you would have 4 or 5 meetings a month because you'd be attending committee meetings and a board meeting.
And
So-
Natalie too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now just witnessing Natalie having to go through the minute situation with the committees is like enough to convince me. Yeah, I think we had a pretty robust discussion last month around it, and I think your proposal was really thorough, Natalie, so I agree, it seems like a good streamlined effort and also will keep us. It's easier to be compliant.
Absolutely.
Less manages, so.
And so at a committee of the whole meeting, a physical quorum of trustees would still be required in order to have the meeting. And the same OMA guidelines for remote participation would be in place. If you are not able to attend a committee of the whole meeting, you can still vote at the board meeting on anything that comes up. I know that was a question someone had last month.
And for our new trustees, I know this is a change from when you applied, when we talked to prospective trustees too. So this is valuable for your input because you don't want to sign up for something that you were surprised by. So if you guys have any feedback.
I open to it. I just really, I don't know. I used to work for the school district and I remember they did committee of the whole. And the village did too, and I would go attend, not those meetings, but you'd hear about committee of the whole. So I just know that from that. Just the name, but honestly have no background in it, so knowing. This is, oh wow, that makes a big difference or not, so I'm wide open. I don't know.
The goal is, committee of the whole's goal is to be your discussion time. Right, so anything that's coming up, like the personnel manual, like the policy updates, all of those things would come to the committee of the whole, so you could all discuss that. Then you get to the board meeting and it's just vote. Yes.
So who
So-
brings it to the committee of the whole?
So that would be either something that was discussed by trustees, something that I wanted your input on, something that was either policy or finance, any of those things. Any trustee could put something on the committee of the whole.
So for like tonight, for example, last month, I guess, the personnel manual would have been on the committee of the whole, what else do we have on here? The whole proposal would have been on the committee. of the whole. But any of those, we would have had that discussion and then come in and just said, who moves to approve? So it is possible, I think that like a meeting like tonight, it could be 30 minutes versus a committee of the whole would be slightly longer, but rather than sort of one extended, obviously that could change.
Are both meetings open to the public and do we broadcast them like now? I should know that.
It's recorded and then posted.
Okay. So anyone can see what we're talking about, which is good. Okay.
I would say our monthly board meetings have been recorded and posted, I think since during COVID when I joined the board. I think they were being recorded. and
I looked,
posted.
it goes pretty far back, like
Yeah.
maybe at least a few years.
We didn't have explicit conversation about would committee of the whole be recorded and posted.
Frequently they're not, because it's just like a regular committee meeting, which generally weren't.
At least prior, the villages were not and the school districts were not. What was public was the actual meeting.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether not hiding anything, but it becomes a little bit more of a meeting of the people at the table versus a formal meeting, I guess.
My recommendation would be that we start the committee of the whole without the recording. And then if we feel that it's necessary for the recording, whether we're, having a large amount of absentees among the board, people who want to see it before they're at a monthly board meeting, then maybe we do start recording and posting, or if we have requests from the members of the public.
I don't think,
That's, again, I'm one
no,
of
but
the,
that
and the
makes,
facilitator of this meeting on one vote. Happy to hear what other people think about that approach for committee as a whole. Start off.
But there would still be minutes taken and those would be posted and made part of public record.
I think it makes sense, especially because it's more discussion based, it's not as official, from what I'm hearing.
Do you want to take a formal vote on committee of the whole video or to video or not to video?
Well, we have to first take a vote on whether we're going to adopt committee of the whole, right?
Okay.
I mean, don't we?
All right, would anyone like to make a motion regarding our bylaw update to create and establish a committee of the whole and remove many individual committees?
I will do that. I will make a motion that we rewrite our bylaws to establish a committee of the whole, abolish the individual system. That up to now.
Thank you, trustee George. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, thank you.
You got it.
Okay,
All good.
trustee Jardine, thank you for the second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, motion carries. We have a committee of the whole. Yay. So video or not to video? We don't have to vote.
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm open to voting if anybody wants to, if people want to vote.
To clarify, access guidelines would be published for committee of the whole or no? Because for committees, they typically aren't. It's open to the public, but we don't.
No, it would.
We don't
if-
provide a link.
Right.
If we're not videoing it, then no.
But the agenda would be posted 48 hours prior.
Right, all the other.
Building would be open if the meetings typically take place here. The building would be open for the public.
I don't see an issue going with what you suggested, Bonnie. I think if we make sure that we publicize that the board is moving toward this model for the public now before our first one, and then if we do get feedback, we can adjust as necessary. Yeah, I think just communicating to the public first would be.
Okay. Feels unanimous. Or at least majority. Okay. Cool. Committee of the whole. Now, we have a resolution to recognize our appreciation for trustee Jerch's service. So I will read this as all resolutions are read into the record, official record. Whereas Janie Jerch was elected to the Board of Library Trustees in April of 2015, I mean, bang on pretty much 10 years ago. Then re-elected in 2019 and in 2023. Whereas Ms. Jerch brought an enthusiasm and deep community connection and leadership to her role as a trustee, ensuring the continued success of the Lakeville Public Library. And whereas Ms. Jerch, in her time on the board, led the fundraising efforts and oversaw construction of the Stroh Reading Room. And whereas Ms. Jerch has held leadership positions as chairperson of many committees, almost every one of them at some point or another: Intergovernmental Agreement Committee, Building and Grounds Committee, Human Resources Committee, Community Engagement Committee, and provided valuable guidance in the library museum relationship. And whereas Ms. Jerch played a pivotal role in the hiring of 2 interim directors and 2 permanent directors. And whereas Ms. Jerch supported staff appreciation initiatives, including coordinating staff luncheons to help foster a positive workplace culture. And whereas Ms. Jerch contributed to the library's future by helping craft the library director job description, ensuring strong leadership for years to come. And whereas Ms. Jerch brought a community-oriented attitude and a dedication to community service to board meetings and undertakings. Whereas Ms. Jerch faithfully discharged her responsibilities in the spirit of service to the community, always demonstrating commitment and care for the library and its mission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Library Trustees as follows. Recognition and thanks. The Board of Trustees hereby recognizes and thanks Janie Jerch for 10 years of service to the village of Lake Bluff as a library trustee. Notification of resolution. The board hereby directs the library director to provide Ms. Jerch the signed copy of this resolution and the certificate of thanks. Voila. Effective date, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval. Passed by the Board of Library Trustees on the 20th day of May, We'll do a voice vote. Yays.
Okay.
Nays. Absent or not voting.
Okay, I'll vote aye, I'll vote aye.
It's already filled out. It's already filled out. Thank you. Janie,
Janie.
please.
Well, thank you,
Yes.
thank you
Somebody has
so
to make
much.
a motion
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The formal.
motion to what?
To approve the resolution.
Okay,
I will move to approve the resolution of thanks for trustee Church for 10 years of service to the library.
thank you, trustee Friedeman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Reidy. All those, do we have to do this again?
No.
Okay. Cause I knew it was on the, I knew it was a blank on the resolution.
Jumped ahead a little bit.
Trustee Jerch.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure and I feel honored to have served the 10 years that I did and I'm glad that I was able to make a small difference in a few areas. I will still see you because I'll still be on the board next door. I will still be very interested in cooperation between the library and the museum. Everybody abreast of what's going on. So you won't see me slamming the door and not coming back.
And I'll just add that trustee Jerch was sort of my unofficial board buddy. You know, when I first joined, if I had questions, I would often go to Janie. Ask her, what's going on? Even during COVID, yeah, you know, would meet in person. Oh, what's going on here? So thank you so much for your service, Janie. Thank you. So for our next new business item is the appointment of board president for the current fiscal year. And last month, we created a slate of candidates of sorts. And so at that time, trustee Friedeman had self-nominated. Is there anyone else who would like to be considered for board president moving forward? Hearing no one, then I guess we take a vote. I forget. It's been a year. Do we do a voice vote? And a voice vote as well. First I need a motion.
I move that we appoint Ali Friedeman as the president of the Board of Trustees
Thank you,
for
trustee.
the next fiscal year.
And I would like to be the second. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Sorry. Okay. Like it abstained? You-
Getting, you know, like.
You, yeah, you would
Get in
abstain.
there.
Congratulations, Ally. Okay, awesome. Now, the remaining officer positions on the board are vice president, treasurer, and secretary. At the previous meeting, I self-nominated to be treasurer. I'm the only remaining finance committee member still on the board. And that's why I felt like it was a good place for me to land moving forward. I have previously served as secretary and vice president, so kind of
Making the rounds.
I don't know why, but home run, touching all the bases is to mind for me right now. So just to let people know where I've raised my hand to contribute for the next year. Is there anyone who would like to be considered for the vice president role? Oh, okay.
Yes, Sandy, yes.
So funny.
Go Sandy, go Sandy, go Sandy.
Okay, sure.
Sure, love to. Sandy, I can't wait till you run a meeting. I can't wait.
It will be wonderful.
Just have a ninja me running a meeting and then you'll be fine.
Any other? Then I'm open to a motion for secretary.
I move that.
I need a secretary. Okay. Hold that thought there. Okay, trustee Jardine. Would anyone like to self-nominate to be the secretary of the board?
I would do it.
Thank you. Trustee Heck.
These are the good baby stuff.
Right. So then, what we'll do is then, this motion will be about appointing the self-nominated vice president, the self-nominated treasurer, and the self-nominated secretary, all in one fell swoop, kind of like that consent agenda, action. So would anyone like to?
I will make the motion to nominate Sandy Jardine as our vice president, Bonnie Shaul as our treasurer, and, I'm sorry, Courtney Heck as our recording secretary for the upcoming 25-26 fiscal year.
Thank you. Thank you, trustee Jerch. Is there a second?
I will second.
Trustee Friedeman, AKA president. Let's do a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 16. Okay, great. New state officers, those of you, all of you who are officers have authority to sign checks. And every time we elect new officers, even when they move positions, we all have to go sign, or Natalie will get the card. Natalie will get the card, and let everybody know to swing by and sign the card. So that the bank has a record of what your signature looks like. Okay. Yay. New business, item G, and we are inside an hour. Discussion regarding workshop that Dieters and Todd, that's the company that we used for our executive search, to review duties and responsibilities of the board.
So Alex reached out to me and asked, which I didn't realize that he had already sent a proposal into the board. To do a short presentation about an hour or so during a board meeting, so it won't have to be a special time. To go over the general expectations of a board and the general expectations of a director. Since there are so many new trustees on board, and I'm new to municipal libraries, besides the one that I worked at in Michigan for a while. Well, that was a while ago, but he thought it would be a great idea for a board with so many new trustees to have a presentation like that. It doesn't have to be an action item, but if you do decide that you want to do it, he's just either June or July.
And is this being offered as part of the fees already paid?
It is an additional cost. It is $200.
$200 is what you're
yeah.
charging?
There's
That is
steep discounts.
a
Yeah.
steal.
I was thinking the same.
That
thing.
is a steal
I thought you
because
were about to
these
say it was
guys,
a lot. I was like,
no, these guys are so talented.
They are
so talented. I
fabulous.
think we will, even the old timers will benefit.
For sure. I wholeheartedly recommend doing it. They are fabulous and they have a ton of experience. And I think it would be a wonderful.
Yeah, I think it sounds great, especially as a new person who doesn't really know quite what we're all doing. It would be very helpful to me.
Would this be at a committee of the whole? Since it's not an action.
We could do the July committee of the whole, because June will just be setting up who, what, when, where. So July committee of the whole, which would be July 1st. That's very smart.
Yeah, let's
I
pencil
will
it
set
in.
it up with.
At work for you, President Friedeman.
Sure does.
Yeah, we met, well, during our final interview day, in which Natalie was interviewing, we had some downtime with staff with each candidate. And so I did not waste any time with that, and I opened my notebook and quizzed them on, what do you think about this? Give me your input as library directors and what you've seen. And they have such a good wealth of knowledge. I think, it would be wise, especially with new director, new board members, fresh start, new fiscal year, all of that. And $200. He sent me the proposal in March, and I was like, missed a zero on that one, but.
Seriously, say the same thing.
But yeah, I think it would be very smart, setting this up for success.
It's the small library discount.
Whatever it is.
They're just sweet guys. They want to see us do well.
Yeah, they really do.
They really do.
Okay. So we'll pencil it in for July first.
By the way, I think it's Dyers.
Yeah.
Is it, thank you,
Dyers.
thank you.
Dyers.
I was missing in Europe. A lot of those discussions. All right, we have some comment cards. Natalie, do you want to take
So
us to
we had
those?
discussed that a little bit earlier. Yeah, so the picture books, they are very excited about picture books. There's some really cute cards. There's the one about the.
Yeah.
And then there's the one about the smaller collection. There is a very much.
We'll keep watching. Hopefully we'll get one. Great, then that takes us to, agenda item number 12. Closed session. Would anyone like to motion that we move into closed session to complete, interviews for our potential trustee?
I so move.
Thank you, trustee Jerch. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We go and take a break, right?
Gotta be in there.
Mistake. Can we reconvene at 8:10 at the latest?
Oh, yeah.
We need to do a
8:05.
voice vote for. entering
Okay,
session.
voice vote for entering
Oh, sorry.
executive session.
Aye.
Aye.
I.
Nays? Okay. And when you get back,